Hey, good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good morning, Ty. I'm wonderful. Well, better anyway, at least.
You look like crap as normal, but welcome back from the flu.
Yeah, it was a pretty brutal week last week. Running fever for 7 days is no fun. I don't care
Oh,
who you are. And Julie, it's funny. Julie thought I was lying, like on Monday, because this all started a week ago Saturday. And Julie's like, "Come on, suck it up." Then as it kept going, she realized, okay, he is really sick. And yeah, it was brutal, but I am on the right side of it. Glad to be there. The weather's nice here. 75 degrees today, which is crazy for November. What about there?
we're under a winter storm warning. 40-mile-an-hour winds, 10 inches of snow forecasted today. We've already had probably three. I actually, right before we started this, I drove back, dropped the kids off. They don't cancel school in a winter storm warning. It's just like it's a different world, different vibe. It's still taking us, almost 2 years to get used to this, but it was fun. Yeah, it's different. It's 27 degrees right now. We're 50 degrees apart.
And a lot of snow apart, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, we have a lot to talk about, but before we do that, I want to show you something I thought about you this week because we talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last week.
We did.
And I saw this. You see a rat, but I see a hardworking dad just trying to feed his 4 teenage turtles. Come on, too good. Too good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, there's a lot happening. We have a couple important topics. One of them being you being at the Dallas Card Show this week, and you were feeling crappy. I've heard rumors that you were sleeping underneath the table.
That rumor is true. No, I did go to the show. We talked a few weeks ago about these big shows being kind of these barometers for the market and the overall health of what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
In the sports card world. I don't know that I think that after this, like, does it tell you anything? Can you really read the tea leaves from this? But Friday I was there, very light attendance, partially probably due to some weather in the area, like severe storms and stuff that probably kept some people away. But I was feeling pretty bad on Friday, and I literally got on one of my friends, Andy, friend of the show. She blinded me with refractors, had a table. He was set up, and I crawled under there and with my backpack and a sweatshirt. And what's funny is Andy was gone when I first got down there, and he came back, and his brother was there, and he tapped on the table, and I knew that was my cue, and I grabbed Andy's leg, and he's like, "What the heck's going on?" Like,
well, see, in California, that's normal. In
right?
Texas, that's not normal.
Yeah, you might get shot in Texas if you do that. The wrong table. But we had a great time. Dave, Blue Jacket 66, came down for the show. Ryan Johnson was here. Ryan Nolan was here. Like, there were some people. This is still a place you want to travel and go see to the Dallas show, but the attendance was really light Friday. Saturday was packed. Definitely lots of people.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean there was necessarily a lot of stuff going on. The dealers I talked to were not having good shows in terms of number of sales, amounts of sales, that kind of thing. There was a lot of people coming up. I saw dealers as people would come up and say, "Hey, are you buying?" And them going, "Nope," shaking their head.
Yep.
No, not right now. And not a lot of, just big deals happen. And I mean, I spent all the money in my wallet, but I honestly took a lot less than I would normally take to a show like that as well. So I think everybody's feeling that. I mean, you're just feeling this, not a whole lot's going on. It's a lot of the vintage guys that I talk to are happy to keep their prices, high, because they're like, I don't want to sell it for, the old standby.
Yeah.
I'm into it for more than that. So not going to take an L, and they're willing to hold on and wait that out. So just not a ton of deals to be done, especially, on the stuff I look at. I don't spend a lot of time in the modern basketball market or football or any of that stuff. But
yeah,
overall, it was a good show.
I think that tells you a lot, though. I mean, I know you just say you don't think you can take anything away from that. I think that that confirms a lot of what we've been talking about and what I think the general populace thinks. And to your point, the dealers that aren't selling stuff, aren't letting things go, eventually, especially when a lot of these guys, like, they rely on this income, they have no choice but to move things.
Right.
I don't feel like that pain has been felt yet, or that point has been reached yet. Does March or April, does that tell us more than it does now? I think so, because I think at that point we probably are seeing a lot of dealers realizing they can't just keep saying no to sales. The market is not paying this price anymore. It's paying this price.
Take it or leave it, right? And I think March, April is an interesting place too, because then you're starting to get into taxes, tax season, and
yeah,
you're like, whoa, I need money. I've got to pay my tax bill for all those cards that I lost money. I mean, it's just, there's a continued softening that I think will keep going. I don't think we're at the bottom. I don't think you do either. Do you?
No, I don't. Yeah. I think for that reason alone. Yeah. We're just seeing way too many people being financially and emotionally attached to their cards.
Yeah, they're just stubborn, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to admit they were wrong. And it's not that you were wrong. It's a good, whatever it is, it's a great card. It's just not worth what it was. There's more of them if you're talking modern, ultra modern, or there's not as many people needing them if you're a vintage guy, whatever, right? There's a lot of reasons. Plus, forget about the gigantic macroeconomic pressures that are being put on everybody. So all of that's a perfect storm for continued softening. God, we could probably, I think March, April's maybe even early. Maybe it's next year at the National. I thought last year's or 2022's National was going to be an opportunity to buy.
Yeah. On the vintage side too. I mean, with grading opening back up and a lot cheaper opportunities to get into graded cards. I mean, if there's anything that I've learned the last year and a half, 2 years of buying collections and then doing chasing cardboard for a year, is that there is a whole lot of vintage cards yet to hit the grading market. And now that it's cheap enough, we're gonna, not we as in we, but like in general, the market's going to see a lot more graded vintage cards. So yeah, you can hold on, dealers, to your cards and think that your vintage is going to be super stable. There's more coming, guys. It's $12 and $15 to grade now. There's more coming.
Yeah. Well, we know ourselves. I mean, we have what? I think we have 9 orders at PSA right now. I looked yesterday. So that's a lot. Some of it's my PC, some of it's your PC, some of it's cards that we're consigning for other people or selling for chasing cardboard. It's a combination of things. And if we feel like, okay, this is a better deal, I don't know that I'd call it a good deal, but it's a better deal, and we have all these raw cards. And that's the other thing that you're, I think, alluding to, maybe even unintentionally. There's a ton of raw cards still to be had and to be sent
for
in
sure
to get graded, right?
Yeah.
And so that is another thing that I think is just lost in the idea that there's plenty of cards that none of them are rare.
Yeah.
Right.
None
of them are rare.
We're going to get to PSA here in a minute, but I have a little pet peeve kind of on this topic. I put a tweet out. I'll show my tweet here. I love when sellers try to sell you something, make the buyer, me in this case, guess what I should pay for it. Like, what do you want to offer is the question I'm getting. Any serious seller knows if you want to sell something, you need to help the buyer cross the finish line, not make it more difficult. I am so tired. I'm so tired of sellers, especially sellers in this case, reached out to me, knew that I was a buyer and said, hey, do you want to buy these cards? And I said, sure. What do you want to sell them for? Make me an offer. I was like, no, you reached out to me. What do you want to sell your cards for? Well, I don't know unless you make an offer. I don't know if it's going to be good. Like, don't waste my time. I'm so tired of this. And I feel like you get this a lot, especially at card shows, but even on eBay nowadays, it's kind of like you have a guy that puts a card out for 10 grand that sells for $1,000. And it's like, you write him a message, say, hey, what do you want to move this for? I could make a bunch of offers, or you could just tell me what you want to move it for and I'll buy it. And they get offended by that. If someone reaches out to me and asks me what I want to sell it for, I say, hey, $250, take it.
Right.
Like, I want to make this easy for you as the buyer. I just don't get the mindset. And I think it goes back to your point. People are in for stuff way too high and are hoping somebody comes in, and it's I guess we're not going to be specific enough. We're going to keep this as broad as we can so that maybe someone swoops in and makes a lucky bid on our part. Like that type of thing. We're going to be saved by someone's ignorance. The ambiguity in all this drives me nuts.
So having negotiations at a card show just this weekend. Hey, unpriced card, which price your freaking cards. Unpriced card. Hey, what do you got on that? Well, I don't know. What are comps? I said, I don't know. What, it's your card. Well, what do you want to pay? Or first thing was what's your offer, like you said. And I said, it's not my job. It's your card. You tell me what you want to sell it for, and I'll tell you if I want to buy it. And then he said, well, what do you want to pay? And I'm like, well, I want to pay $1. So, I mean, if you're going to give me the option to pay what I want to pay, then you're not going to be happy with that result. I promise, and even if it was more worded, what are you willing to pay? Like, which just sounds desperate. Like, how much are you willing to give me? Because by golly, I got to get out of this thing. The desperation was palpable on some of the not everybody. This wasn't a universal statement, but it was definitely, you could see some guys that were willing to make deals. Again, I got some deals, but it wasn't like it was just every card and everything. So yeah, you're right. It's so dumb when they ask, why would he ask you that?
Yeah. And like, look, you and I have been in sales forever. The last thing you want to do is add more red tape and hurdles for a buyer to jump through.
Make it easy.
Like because like the second I think I have to do more work, I'll just take 10 steps and I'll go to the next guy, or I'll go to Instagram and find the next card, or I'll go to eBay and find like those opportunities are endless. If you don't make my life easy or give me something to like actually respond to, peace out. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think the overall inventory numbers of dealers versus today and what the actual, if you took their inventory and what's it worth, most of them have got to be underwater, have to be underwater, right? Because even if they sold cards into the pandemic, they had to replace their inventory, and they're doing that at high prices, right? It's not like they were just the lucky ones and bought everything 10 years ago and just now waited to sell it. If you're a dealer, you're constantly churning inventory, turning stuff over. So it's a pickle. This will last a little while. This ain't going away.
No, it's not. It's not. Before we jump into PSA, great last episode. You and I were on an episode seeing Glenn on Chasing Cardboard. That was a fun one.
That was a fun one.
That was good.
We've gotten a lot of great feedback from people on that. And honestly, I'm glad we didn't buy the collection.
Yeah. And I want to know why here in a second. But we've been getting comments in the episode. We get all kinds of comments in the episodes, as you know. Right. Some are very disturbing, and then some are awesome, right? People were like, "What? Well, why'd you consign that? It's because you didn't have the capital to buy it, so you're consigning." I saw multiple comments like that. You didn't have the capital to buy it, which is not true.
100% not true.
And it's not even a response in pride. It's more so like we genuinely at the time didn't feel like we'd be doing Glenn right. But why are you glad we didn't buy it?
I think we would have overpaid, honestly. We are finding very, very quickly through chasing cardboard experience, because it wasn't like I was a big raw card buyer before and would grade stuff, and that wasn't my thing. I'd buy cards already graded. So now that we're assessing these collections and looking at these, and you get these in the moment, whoa, these are all great cards. And that's a true statement. They were all great cards.
Yeah.
Are they all high grade valuable cards? Maybe, maybe not. Some of them, yes, maybe. Some of them, no. I think I would have been wrong on many of the grades. But again, we're not sitting there assessing the card. We're looking, oh, there's a Clemente rookie. Okay, great. I'm not looking at it to see, is it a 2, a 3, or 4, or 5, is it whatever grade, right? And I think we would have, just based on our cursory look through it, we were there, what, a couple hours?
Mm-hmm.
I think we would have overpaid and had higher expectations cash wise. But I mean, for people that don't know, when you consign a collection, there's just less risk, period. I don't know how many episodes we've done on this show about risk in the hobby and the reality of it for everyone. Yes, we wanted to do right by Glenn. Yes, we thought we could get more money consigning it, and not paying a cash price. Because when you pay cash, you have to factor in your time and all this stuff. It's more than just a % of comps, for certain cards. That just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I think even in the show, in that episode, we recorded our conversation. That was real. That was authentic. You thought it was about 40. I thought it was about 30. That's what we would have paid in cash. Both those numbers would have been really tough. 30 we'd have basically been scraping by to break even, I think, when it's all said and done. We still got some cards at PSA being graded as well. We still have to sell some raw stuff as well of his. And for those who don't know, these are recorded months ago, right? So you're seeing like these trickle in after months of us working on it. There's two things that happen when you go see these collections. One, you get very quickly, you get googly eyed, and the calculator's running in your mind because you see a Hank Aaron rookie, you see Mays, you see Mantle, and all of a sudden you think you're at $10,000, but in reality you're at $3,000, right? In raw value. It's really easy to, like, the excitement multiplier starts kicking in, and you're really way far ahead than what, like, the reality is. And that definitely happened in that case for you and I. We would have, before we would have handed cash over, we would have resettled ourselves, I think.
Right.
And probably made a lower cash offer. But in the moment, we thought, holy crap, it's $30,000, $40,000. But when it's all said and done, it's going to be somewhere in that range where we actually sell it for Glenn, which is a great deal for Glenn, right? It's a great deal. But
we've learned, I mean, the episodes, we need to do like a behind the scenes after, what we think of after for Chasing Cardboard. I think that'd be kind of an interesting thing. Put down comments down below if you'd love to see Ty and I talk through doing this stuff and all the stuff you don't see on camera, which is 99% of the rest of it. You're seeing a glimpse of what we did pre-collection, all the discussions before, etc. But the collection we went and saw with Harlan in West Virginia, which is coming up on the next 2 episodes of Chasing Cardboard, we did a much better job, I think, of going, okay, let's just not get too googly eyed. And there was even more to be googly eyed about, right?
Oh, I mean, and one of the things, Glenn's collection was good, and it was very good. Harlan's, holy smokes. Yeah. We won't get into that, but yeah, you're right. You're right. You learn, right? And what I think we're also learning is that even the vintage card market is very fragile right now. Yeah. Cards that we thought were guaranteed, bangers when it comes to like selling in the vintage card market, guaranteed, like not guaranteed, right? 30, 40% lower than what we thought, even with good grades. It just is the reality of the market we're in. And so when we make a cash offer and we're going to pay 50% of comps, even that carries substantial risk in this market. A cash offer at 50% of book value, because your time is valuable, your resources are valuable, and card prices are extremely volatile. End of story. So anyone that thinks otherwise is just ignorant and doesn't know how to do, everything, all that goes into this.
Yeah. We get a lot of people that write comments that they want to come along or they want to, this is my dream. Think quick, think long and hard about that before you just, if you're saying it without knowing really what that entails, there's a lot that goes into it. And luckily you're amazing, Ty. Matt's obviously amazing. And we're getting some systems in place that are helping us. Otherwise, we're learning as we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're amazing too, Mike. And we don't need to keep saying this, but we will. We aren't necessarily doing it for the collections themselves. We like to make the deal and we like to make some money on the deal, but we love to tell the stories. And that's why we go out to these places. So anyway, this is not meant to be a whole chasing cardboard spiel. We have something to talk about with PSA. You have 2 points. Can we talk about Omar's video?
Absolutely.
Retro Hoop Collectibles. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put a link in the show notes. He put a video out a couple days ago, I think, talking about a recent posting of Nat Turner and his cards, specifically one of his Jordan cards that came back a PSA 10. And I don't have an image of it. Do you have an image?
No,
ready?
it's one of those
triumvirate.
It's the Luminaries deal.
Yeah, it's the stadium club, right? The stadium club.
Yeah, mega die cut card, right? Super die cut, all the different.
And they're like a jigsaw puzzle. They're like a puzzle, right? The 3 of these cards match up. This is the Jordan, and they're all kind of like jagged edges, and they connect with 2 of the cards. Well, Turner's card had a little piece ripped off, completely missing, like gone from the card. It's PSA 10.
Yeah.
When you saw the video, what did you think? Did you think, did he grade that himself? Is that right? Or what did you think?
Omar took a different stance, and I would encourage Omar's a friend of our channel. We love Omar. I think you should go watch it and make your own assessment. Personally, I think he got a grader that didn't know what he was doing. Honestly, I mean, it's that simple. I wouldn't think the grader would know how many. I'm not saying they shouldn't. They should. How many different things should be here? How many little pieces of this die cut should be here? Oh, we're missing one. You know, we can't go into the mind of the grader, but
yeah,
for sure this was a total error. I don't think it was anything malicious or intentional I have a hard time believing that Nat Turner would do that. Like, hey, make sure you give me a 10 on this. I think he sends them in just like everybody else.
I think that's completely naive on your part to think that.
Maybe. Doesn't that risk the integrity of the entire company to get good grades on a few cards? That seems very short-sighted to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. It would be totally short-sighted. I don't think this is it. I guess I don't know how to put it. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I really don't. I hope it's not true. Like he is encouraging those to look at his cards differently. But when you got a ripped up card getting a 10 and you're showing it off on your Instagram, like you either are very disconnected with reality and what the public is going to think, or you're doing something shady. Either one's just like, you need to reevaluate what's going on here. And neither one's good.
The 2 things are you either have a really incompetent grader or you manipulated the system, both of which are bad, right? But he's got to fix. I mean, somebody's got to point that out because it was a Twitter post that he had made showing these cards off.
Instagram, yeah.
Or Instagram.
Yeah.
Which I follow him on Instagram. He's got some,
killer cards.
He was actually on an interview. He did an interview with a friend of the show, Sports Card Nation, John Newman.
Okay.
And another thing if you don't listen to Sports Card Nation, it's a podcast. You got to go listen to it on podcast, but very insightful interview with Nat Turner, almost an hour long. So lots of questions that John asked, lots of questions I wish John would have asked that he didn't ask. Supposedly nothing was off the table, but it sure felt like some things were off the table to discuss. Nat Turner, hey, the backlog is over. We are done with the backlog. And here we are seeing all of these grading specials coming out and different things. He said they've been overwhelmed a lot with TCGs, which is not surprising. The Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh market is apparently very, very strong. They are getting just tons and tons of those types of collectibles being sent to them to be graded. They're supposedly coming out with a new slab that has additional UV protection, some other security measures that he didn't go into, but he said that's probably by December that'll start happening. I've heard rumors that their flip is going to get redesigned, the label itself, which I think would be cool to see something different. I don't know. It was a good interview to just hear from him directly what he thought. For me personally, the set registry discussion that they got into,
Yep.
I never thought about this until he mentioned it, and now it makes a lot more sense. I'd always thought, well, just give the set registry people an opportunity to send in cards under a certain special, right? And he said, well, the two systems don't talk to each other. If you pull up to do a submission at PSA, you can choose, bulk 15 or super express or your service level, right? You can choose your service level. If you they want to make one where it's set registry and they give you a deal, but they want to link it up to your set registry so that if you put in a certain card, they're going to cross-check it and make sure that you need it for your registry. Like you can't just send in a certain card and already have it. But then wouldn't you still want to do that if you were trying to, maybe I have a 3 and I got a nicer version. I want to try to upgrade to a 5 or a 6,
Yeah.
I don't know. He just said there's a lot of challenges with that computer language talking to each other.
I think it's a super easy solution. I think we've talked about this before. You log into your set registry and you have a certain amount of cards registered in your registry.
Right.
You can very easily spit out a coupon code, a discount code every month, depending on your quantity in your set registry. And then you can go put that in your PSA submission that discounts your order. It doesn't have to be mind blowing. It doesn't have to be 500 cards for $10 each. But if you have 1,000 cards in your PSA set registry, we're going to give you 50 cards at $12 a card. Here's your coupon code. Type it in. Like, look, reward these guys for building the set registry. It's not that hard to give them a coupon code. They don't have to have systems talking to each other at that point.
It does sound much more simplistic than what Nat Turner was talking about. But yeah, I would encourage everybody to go listen to that interview. It was good. There wasn't anything earth-shattering out of it other than they're still trying to figure out where price meets demand, where they can set the price where they're running at full capacity all the time. They're doing about 50,000 cards a day is like, that's our sweet spot. We want to grade 50,000 cards a day. That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. That's a lot of cards.
That is a lot of cards in one day. He said something else and I just went blank on it, but I may think of it in a second. What else do you have going on this week?
Well, just keep an eye on Bench Clear. I'll be putting out a video later this week. I don't want to say too much, but I had an incident happen with PSA that I am trying to have them rectify. I'm giving them an opportunity to do it. So there could potentially be a pretty mind-blowing situation that happened with PSA. So
if people like me and Ty we have issues with PSA. We have issues with eBay, like nothing. We have the same problems every other normal collector does and hobbyist does. We get to deal with all this crap too. And we don't like it any more than you guys do, but it's kind of all right, let's go call so-and-so, and deal with this problem. I've got a great episode for Golden Age. I'm finally getting back on the train with Golden Age Cardboard. Got an episode Wednesday with a gentleman who was insanely knowledgeable about baseball and members of the baseball community that also served in the military, World War II,
cool.
World War I. We've got Veterans Day coming up on Thursday. So we wanted to kind of salute to the relationship between baseball and the military, which has been a long-standing one.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like I literally had periods, Ty, I know this is hard for you to believe, but I sat there for like 20 to 30 minutes, literally just listening and just taking it in. and learning. I know.
If you weren't sick, that wouldn't have been possible.
Right. I did enjoy it because I didn't have much of a voice when I did the interview. But
Nice.
have you voted yet? Are you going to vote?
Of course I'm going to vote. Yeah.
Are you going to vote tomorrow, or have you already done early voting?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. I already voted. So
nice.
We shall see what happens.
Interesting day. So you'll get a kick out of this. So I'm getting a second. I got a term life insurance policy on myself 15, 20 years ago. I think it has 10 years left. So I'm getting a new one done for May and the kids. And they ran the numbers for me. And I'm trying to get $1 million policy. And I'm healthy, don't do all the typical, some of the crap that they hate seeing, right? So it's a relatively inexpensive policy. But I was thinking about it. I'm thinking, okay, it's a 20-year policy. I think I'm going to pay $85 a month, $80 a month, something like that.
Okay.
And I started thinking about this in terms of like the math, the sports Vegas odds. And they're basically over 20 years, I'm going to put in $28,000 in exchange for the possibility of getting paid out $1 million if something happened to me, right? They're willing to bet $28,000. They're giving 6,000 to 1 odds
that you're not going to die.
That I'm not going to die. Right. They got me thinking, what are some other future odds that are better, or I guess worse in this case? The odds of the Rangers winning the World Series are 5,000 to 1 right now for next year. So there's an equal chance that I die in the next 20 years versus the Rangers winning the World Series.
Speaking of incredible odds and insane odds, are you playing the Powerball? The $1.9 billion.
That's all you got to say about my life insurance math there? Come on.
I think that's fantastic. I hope you don't die. But then I have to help May deal with all your crap. So
very true. No, I don't do the lottery. Did you get a ticket?
I did. I think the lottery is an income tax on the ignorant, much like opening sports cards wax.
Right. But when it's like $1 trillion, you're like, why not?
Right. That's the point. If I can pay $2 and maybe win this, and maybe that's what people think about opening boxes is like, well, I'm playing the lottery here. And but it's you can put $10 in the lottery. Probably won't win anything, but you're not buying a box for $500.
When's the next drawing?
I think tonight. We
should have done like a massive, pool where we all put in like $10 and all the viewers, and we get like $5,000 in tickets.
No one would trust us to handle that. Nor do I want to deal with it if we actually won and I had to, find all these people and give them all, their fair share.
Go ahead and PayPal to Mike Moynihan. I'll let you deal with the IRS with all your received funds.
Oh, God.
Oh, shoot. Well, cool, man. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm really glad you're feeling better. And we'll be back at it next week. Look forward to your stuff this week.
Same to you, man. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.